Right.
No, the only information that I was able to find about Daisy Parker were Lewis's accounts of Daisy Parker in his books. You know, he was an avid writer, has several books, was always writing letters, was always notating something. And so he speaks a lot about Daisy. But there's always what other people's perspective of a person are, and then it's who the person is. And so I had to string this character together from what his accounts of her were, but also what my own accounts are from my research of Storyville at that time, and prostitution at that time. And this was a legal activity before Daisy Parker. So Daisy Parker was a child or a teenager during Storyville's height. And she was, you know, she started prostituting after. So she grew up in a time when women were very much independent and taking care of themselves and setting rules of engagement. So for Daisy, she's violent because of her environment, because of the need to survive. These are all things that I had to string together because of the research that I did about other women in the time period. I've done a lot of work about Lulu White, of Mahogany Hall, and other female proprietresses of that time who, you know, sex work, prostitution it's a engagement in a transaction. It's transactional, it's not love. You know, so women have to be firm in what the rules of engagement are. And so that was a huge thing for me in developing Daisy's character, was that she's in control all the time by any means necessary. So the switchblade, while it's amusing, it's out of necessity that she needs that. This is a woman who's been abused. Like in a lot of the accounts that Lewis has of her, he talks about when he first met her and he first visited her home, she had an old man, who I'm assuming was her pimp, and he beat her in front of Lewis. So this is a woman that's used to being beaten. And so she has to engage with the world where it's at for her, which means she's just not violent for the fun of it. She's violent because she lives in a violent society, and that is her means of survival. And so in that way, I really respect that she was able to survive. And that she was able to, you know, Lewis says, I was never nervous about Daisy and her knife because she knew how to use it. So she's skilled at what she's learned, she's become skilled at. And, you know, I didn't have a lot of her own accounts, but I had enough of the world of New Orleans at the time to start to paint this picture of this woman who loved Lewis, but also was like an alcoholic and violent, but he still loved her. So there was there was some softness. He talks about how when they would be together and it would just be the two of them, that there was love, there was genuine love between them. So it was important for me to also figure out the places where she softens and she becomes something a little more relatable to the audience. You know, most people aren't pulling razor blades out on people, you know, but most people can recognize the love that she has for Lewis.